Tylenol causes autism. That is what President Trump and RFK Jr. told America last night, and we should talk about it because you had the president saying,
effective immediately, the FDA will be notifying physicians that the use of let's see how we say that. Acetaminophen. Acetaminophen. Is that okay? Which is basically commonly known as Tylenol, during pregnancy can be associated with a very increased risk of autism. So taking Tylenol is not good. All right, I'll say it. It's not good.
with Trump then going on to add that this can be ignored in situations where a pregnant mom has an extremely high fever, though he emphasized to use as little Tylenol as possible. Right? And then you also had RFK Jr. speaking, saying that under his leadership, he directed various government agencies to look into all causes of autism, including the possibility that pharmaceuticals could play a role. And then RFK went on to say that the previous administration refused to do this and only researched the genetic component of autism, which I will say is just not true. And researchers have long explored a plethora of possible causes, with the consensus being that the best studies look at genetic, medical, and environmental data. Also, I'll say while this announcement, it was very controversial, it didn't come as a surprise. And that, at least in part, because since late last week, Trump's been teasing that this was coming. And then on Sunday, he said that he strongly believed that there was a link between Tylenol and autism. So of course, that begs the question, is there? Right? And the short answer right now appears to be no, and the more nuanced answer appears to be still no, but it's also not like Trump and RFK Jr. completely made this up. Their best evidence is a paper from August by Harvard and Mount Sinai researchers, which suggests that acetaminophen use early on in a pregnancy might lead to a tiny increase in autism rates. And you've had the Make America Healthy Again crowd bringing this paper up as proof that there is a link between the two and that Tylenol use needs to be stopped during pregnancy. Even the researchers on that paper, they didn't rule out taking the drug entirely. However, a big part of the situation is that there's a lot of research indicating that there is no link whatsoever. And there you have one of the biggest studies being done by Swedish researchers in 2024. And there they looked at cases of autism among nearly 2.5 million kids, and they found what looked like a very small association with acetaminophen use early on in pregnancy and autism. But then also when they compared the findings among siblings who had similar conditions, that link completely disappeared, and it led them to conclude that, quote, acetaminophen use during pregnancy was not associated with children's risk of autism, ADHD, or intellectual disability in sibling control analysis. This suggests that associations observed in other models may have been attributable to familial confounding.